Hi, I'm Denise O'Malley, founder of You Define Wellness, and welcome to another edition within the Defining Wellness Confab. And if you've been following along with this, then what you know is that I am having 48 conversations with some of the best health and wellness experts out there, sharing their expertise, because if you're on a path for wellness or you're thinking about going on a path to wellness, you may not know who to work with. And I've got some of the best that I want to introduce you to. These are people who are providers in the You Define Wellness Network. And we'll talk about that at the end. But right now, it's my pleasure to introduce you to one of them. This is Briana Bragg, the owner of Vacation of the Mind and based in Chicago, Illinois. And Briana, thank you for joining us today.
Yes, thank you, Denise, for having me. It's a pleasure to be a part of your network as well as to bring this information to everyone who is listening.
Well, thank you. And what you're going to talk about, it is important to everyone out there. And I'm going to share some stuff that I learned yesterday that you may be jumping up and down about to hear about. But why don't you tell us what you do and what your business is all about?
Great, thank you. Vacation of the Mind is a guided meditation company. We specialize in offering corporate wellness to from keynote presentations to workshops to team meditations, C-suite coaching, and kind of everything in between. We also throw events and attend events. So I just had an amazing event here in Chicago this past weekend at the Chicago Sky Deck. It was super fun. We're going to be doing another one in October. And then we attend events like the Field of Yogis events that's coming up in August that we will be traveling to Iowa for and producing meditation and music as well as holding workshops. And then we also do private instruction along with my recent book launch and a level 1 certification. So this business definitely keeps me busy, but I love sharing meditation and mindfulness with the greater population.
You're blazing trails. I have to tell you, I watch your progress and what you're doing, and I'm just so impressed, particularly about your passion with sharing meditation in the world. And you got an awful lot of publicity. You just talked about it. But you got an awful lot of publicity this last week because of where you were doing meditation. And can you please describe the space that you did that in?
Absolutely. It's on the 99th floor of the tallest building with an observation deck. So the observation deck here in Chicago at the Willis Tower, it's called the Sky Deck. And it's on the 103rd floor. And so basically what this is the entire 103rd floor is taken up with beautiful views of the entire city, the city skyline. You can see, I believe it's like 4 states. It's 1,300 feet up into the air. It's really, really high to say the least. And they have glass sky ledges that you can go out onto and, sit and view the city. It's really an incredible experience. So we were just a few floors below that. So everyone got to go up to the 103rd floor, enjoy the views. And then we were down on the 99th floor where we meditated literally above the Chicago skyline.
Oh, that is so fascinating. It had to have been invigorating for you as well to do something like that.
It was so amazing. It was really a dream come true when I started, putting together ideas for hosting events for Vacation of the Mind. I wanted to think outside of the box and do something that's a little bit different and not what everyone else does, necessarily in a studio. And so we started looking at really cool, tourist spots or attraction types of places where we could hold our events. And the Sky Deck was top on my list. And it was just such an honor to be there. Everyone who came had such an amazing time. We celebrated life with a toast of champagne and mimosas after, and just really had a great morning of community and amazing views.
Okay, there's so many different directions I want to go with this, but let me stay on the track here because I'm dancing off here mentally. Why is meditation important?
Yeah, that's a great question. At its core, meditation is a mental exercise that trains the brain to think, process, and react differently. And so one of the analogies that I like to use with people, I don't know if you've ever been skydiving, Denise. Have you ever? skydiving?
No, but it's on my bucket list.
Okay, mine too. I haven't been yet, but I've heard some crazy stories. And so, what happens in our daily life is, we've got so many pressures, so many responsibilities, from job pressure to family to relationships to, things at home, and money, bills, all of the stuff that makes up our life, right? And so one of the things that happens is that we get into these patterns of thoughts that keep us in a state of fight or flight response. And so if you'll imagine when you're standing on the edge of that airplane about to jump, from what I understand, the thought is, oh, what am I about to do?
It's a perfectly good plane. Why am I jumping out of it?
Right. Exactly. But what we don't realize in, our daily life is we tend to stay in this state of fight or flight response where adrenaline is pumping through our body as if we're standing on the edge of that plane about to jump out. And so what meditation does is it gives us the ability to calm the mind chatter, to reduce the noise, to come to a place of stillness and of inner peace for a few moments, to allow our body to reset from that adrenaline, to allow our stress hormones to calm down for a few moments. We don't have to stay in that state 24/7. We do have the ability to somewhat control our thoughts, our patterns. And meditation is a practice. It's not something that you do one time and all the stuff disappears, but with practice, you can actually train your brain to think, process, and react differently. And so it's a great tool for doing that and for allowing your body just to calm and reset, kind of like the computer. When the computer programs are running all crazy, what do you do other than wanting to throw it out the window? You want to reset it, you want to unplug it. And
Right.
that's what meditation is for us.
Yesterday I attended the first ever National Summit for Mental Health and Mental Fitness.
Oh, great.
It was a fascinating event, and we had presidential candidates there, congressional leaders, leaders in the industry, business, schools as well, education institutions, as well as a variety of other ones. And what fascinated me the most is the number of these leaders who they talked about the prevention of mental health issues and when crisis arises and trauma, that they have their own practices of meditation, mindfulness, and breathing. And these are pretty accomplished people out there, and saying and really stressing the point that we need to bring that into business, and we need to bring that into the schools to teach these lessons. So God forbid a workplace crisis hits or a school shooting or whatever, is that those who have those as practices are better equipped to deal with that crisis that enters into the world. Would you agree with all that?
Absolutely. That's the thing, Denise. I learned from a very early age when I got into meditation. I was 27 years old. I had a total body burnout due to stress. And one of the things that I learned at that age was that I'm less effective, less productive if I'm in a constant reactionary state. And so if I'm actually able to produce from a more calm state, to produce from a proactive state, my decision making is going to be better. My production, my level of production is going to be better. My creativity is going to increase. And my focus and concentration and attention to not only my life and my business and my surroundings, but to those around me is just going to be of higher quality. And that's one of the amazing tools that breathing and meditation brings. I was
Yeah.
at a client's office this morning, and they're headed into their busy season. And, they talk about some of their teams and how I was with a group of managers this morning, and they're headed into their busy season. And they were talking about how their teams, in busy season kind of operate from that reactionary standpoint. And so we were
Yeah.
talking through effective breathing techniques. It doesn't take a lot. You're talking 10 deep breaths, breathing the right way. You can get your central nervous system to calm down in the moment and effectively make decisions and effectively respond when needed. An interesting fact I learned recently is that we actually cannot make decisions or think if our heart rate is over 90 beats per minute. So think about that. How many times a day your heart rate might go over 90 beats per minute, and you're trying to make a decision, or you're trying to create, or you're trying to lead your team. It just can't be done because our brain can't process in that state.
That's really good to know.
Yeah.
So well, I have a meditation practice, but I will say that when I started meditation, because I was corporate America, USA. I mean, briefcase toting, of course, a million years ago, type business suit type person, and I heard about it, and it actually frightened me. It was unknown. It was kind of woo-woo out there type of a thing, and I finally decided, okay, I'm going to learn meditation, and some of the resources were not available that are available today. And I actually bought Meditation for Dummies. I am a book owning. I have a copy of it. What would you say to the person who was like me, that was like, okay, well, how do I get into this? How do I get started?
Yeah, we all start somewhere. When I started 7 years ago, I had no clue what I was doing either. I was listening to all these YouTube videos, and none of them had any kind of process. They didn't follow, a certain cadence. Some people were talking at you. Some people were banging gongs. Some people were telling you to just sit in silence and quiet your thoughts. And unless you're trained, how do you sit in silence and quiet your thoughts, right?
No, it doesn't happen. Right. Monkey brain.
And, yeah, in fact, what typically happens is when you go to sit in silence, all those thoughts rush in. And so you're like, crap, I'm not doing this right. And so there's one basic tool that we can do to kind of bring us into a more calm state that is a form of meditation, and it's really just focusing on your breathing. Now, people say to me, well, I can't calm my mind, I can't calm my thoughts, or focusing on my breathing is really boring. And while I would agree that focusing on your breathing can be a bit boring, there are techniques and ways that you can make it a little more fun. And so one of those, for example, is to inhale and exhale for the same length of time. So maybe you want to use a count, a 4 count, a 5 count, depending on where you're starting and what level you are. So I like the 5 count. So I tend to inhale for a count of 5, exhale for a count of 5. And that kind of distracts your brain a little bit so that just focusing on your breathing isn't so boring. But one thing I will say that the majority of us don't know, and I certainly didn't know it until I was trained and really started diving into this and learning more about it, is that a lot of us tend to breathe the wrong way. We tend to breathe very shallowly. We tend to breathe into our chest. We tend to breathe in a way that keeps us in a state of fight or flight response. And so one thing I do encourage people is to learn how to breathe the right way if you are really trying to recalm your central nervous system and learn meditative practices. And that's that you want to breathe into your abdomen, into your diaphragm. What that allows for is for our lungs to fully fill with oxygen. And as we know, oxygen is what provides us with life. It rejuvenates us. It, gives our blood what it needs to pump through our system and heal us and, have our body function properly. And so if we're breathing into here, we're not allowing oxygen to fully get into our bloodstream and our system. And so when you're able to focus on breathing into the abdomen, inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the nose, it's a really powerful state. And what you'll find is you need less breaths to find yourself in a calm state than you do if you're breathing the wrong way.
That's awesome. Now, one of the things, you're in Chicago, Illinois. Somebody watching this may not be there. You work with people all over the United States and world, I'm sure. So how do you do that?
I do. We do a lot of virtual coaching through things like Zoom. We have proprietary software that we utilize for our corporate wellness accounts that actually allow us to deliver meditations into a team, and it kind of tracks and monitors, who's watching it, how long they've watched it, and it gives them a chance to have a survey at the end. We're huge believers in feedback. We want to know the results that we're getting with every single person that we come in contact with, because that helps us to know, how it's affecting them, and it also helps us, that feedback helps us just do a better job with, other people with them. So one of the things that makes us a little bit different than some of the other companies that might exist out there is we actually customize our coaching sessions to deal with what that person is going through. If it's a corporate wellness account, we actually customize this session for the team. So for example, this morning, we had a visualization piece of the meditation where each manager focused on what that goal for their team was headed into busy season. And then they got to see that team working cohesively from a calm state and actually accomplishing that goal. And, I'm a big follower of Joe Dispenza. I was listening to some of his work this morning. I absolutely love everything that he's researching and talking about in neuroscience. And it's now a scientific fact that visualization does work when you can couple that what you want to have happened. The brain and the subconscious does not know the difference between what's real and what we're programming into it, and that is scientifically proven. He's got a lot of great information around this. And so when you're able to visualize the outcome of what you want to happen instead of living in past emotions or past thoughts about what's going wrong, you can actually make that outcome come to fruition much faster.
Absolutely. So you're working with individuals, you're also working with employer groups, and you have all of that. You also have feet on the street in a lot of towns.
Yes, I do.
So what if, let's say a health and wellness practitioner wants to include meditation but perhaps doesn't know how to go about doing it. Can you talk about your program for them?
Absolutely. Yes, I developed a level 1 meditation certification program. It is approved for CEC credits by several organizations, and we're continuing to add more onto our list, which is amazing. It's all online now. So I used to teach it in person, but this year we took it online so that we could have a wider reach of people. And so we've got several certified instructors that have completed the certification. It's kind of a do at home on your own time, but there's about 9 modules that you go through. It's a 3-step process where you learn effective breathing techniques to calm the central nervous system, refocusing techniques for the mind. And then we actually teach how to utilize your real life experiences to take someone on a short journey and drop them into stillness from the journey, and then how to bring them out. And so level 2 and level 3 will be coming out sometime next year. We're going to be continuing to advance that program. But anyone who would like to add this onto their business or join our team can take that level 1 certification. It's journeyintotranquility.com is where they can find that. And I also recently released a book, Journey into Tranquility, which is for someone who wants to learn on their own how to meditate at home. It's got a few of those practices in there, very simple exercises that someone can incorporate into their daily life.
So how can they get the book?
They can get the book at journeyintotranquility.com as well, or it's also on Amazon. If you search Journey into Tranquility or my name, Briana Bragg, you can find it.
Awesome. So that tone we heard says it's time for us to wrap this up because this time goes by so incredibly fast.
It sure does.
Yeah. What did you want to cover that we haven't yet? Is there anything on your list?
Yeah, so, one of the things that I spoke about when I was on this is we call this meditation for your daily life. And so one of the things that I just want people to realize is it doesn't have to be, you don't have to set aside 30 minutes. You don't have to take a big chunk of your day. You can literally start with just breathing for 2 to 3 minutes in the morning before you get out of bed, or at night before you go to sleep. And it can significantly change your life. A new research study just came out about how noise actually causes our stress hormones to produce more stress hormones. And taking 2 minutes of stillness a day, just 2 minutes of stillness a day, can reduce those stress hormones significantly and improve our health. One of the other techniques that I teach, and it's probably one of my most favorite techniques, is to close your eyes and just bring your attention and focus to the darkness that's right behind your closed eyelids. Sometimes you can focus on the space that's right between your eyebrows or the darkness behind your closed eyelids. And I actually, when I started out with this technique, I like to challenge myself a little bit and see how long I can hold that darkness. This is the closest to stillness that we're going to come. And the longer that you can hold the focus on the darkness behind your closed eyelids, the better you get at it and the longer you can actually go. And so I was meditating the other day. I didn't have a ton of time, so I sat down, I did my 5 or 10 deep breaths, and then I brought my attention and awareness to the darkness behind my closed eyelids, and literally 20 minutes later, I came out of it and it felt like 2 minutes. So, it's amazing with practice how long you can actually extend that. At first, a lot of thoughts may come in. That's okay. Just thank them for being there, let them go, and bring your awareness back, because again, remember, we're retraining the brain to think and process differently. And so I tell people, if you'll start in the morning, 2 to 3 minutes in the morning, if you start with 10 deep breaths, utilizing that count of 5 for your inhale, count of 5 for your exhale, not seconds, a count. And then we don't want you to, exasperate yourself. And then bring your focus and attention to the darkness behind your closed eyelids for a few seconds. And each morning you try to extend that a little bit more and a little bit more. Before you know it, you're getting really good at training your brain to reset and rethink and reprocess. And you can hold it for extended periods of time. And it just makes such a big difference in your day. If I don't meditate, one of the things, or if I don't do a few minutes of this in the morning, through the middle of the day and the afternoon, I'm feeling like really chaotic. And I'm like, what is going on? Oh, I didn't do that today. And so I can really see a difference in my day. So I encourage everybody, start your day like that, end your day like that, and just watch the results unfold in your life.
I'm going to try that. Thank you.
You're
That's
welcome.
a great tip. Okay, so this is the point in time where I get to tell you about Unifying Wellness, because Briana is a provider in our network. And when I talk about Unifying Wellness, a lot of people don't know who we are, even though we've been around for about 3.5 years. We're growing by leaps and bounds. We have providers now, hundreds of providers across the country. And where you can go to the internet and you can search for a list of health and wellness professionals, and that's great. Most of them are not vetted. Ours is. And when I say vetted, I mean we have a private investigator. We're doing a criminal background investigation. We're looking at their licenses and regulations, any disciplinary actions against them. We're looking at their reputation, which is huge. We're looking at it whether or not they're a legal business. And so while it shouldn't be your only source of due diligence when you're trying to find someone to work with, you can rest assured that our people have been looked at, and it's a good starting point. And with this network of providers, we can do some things like create an employee benefit program. Programs like Briana's are not offered typically as part of a health insurance plan. We have it available through our plan as an employee benefit program. So if you are one who chooses employee benefits for your staff, man, take a look at it. It's a great product, and there's a lot to it. One of the other things we pride ourselves about is not just the access through the employee benefit program, but it's also the education. And our providers have put together a bunch of great programs. Some of them are available worldwide. So if you're looking for a speaker at a lunch and learn or a community group or a school or whatever it may be, and you need a new speaker, go to our education catalog and take a look, download the list, and you can download it for free and look at some of the topics that we have and the great providers who are teaching those classes. And the last thing we can do as a product is put together what's called a Healthy Living Savings Card. This is a discount card. So if you're not on the employee benefit plan, if you're not working someplace that has it, if you're an individual retiree, self-employed, and you want to save money on healthy living products and services, all you have to do is present this card to the providers who accept it, and they have a discount for you, and you can share it with your family members. You can use it as many times as you want in a month, and it does not expire ever. There is a one-time fee of $99 for this card, but until this until August 1st, when this confab is over, you can actually purchase it at half price. And you can learn more about this at youdefinewellness.com. And while you're there, look at what we're doing to help in the workplace when a crisis hits. We are forming something called the Holistic Healing Workplace Crisis Support Team. We're spinning it off as a nonprofit because we want to be of service to employers and their staff when a crisis hits. And normally employers are told to bring in the counselors and the psychotherapists, and that's great. It's not enough. And we can bring in a wide variety of providers to teach employees the skills and let them see the different paths that they can implement for their own healing process after a crisis at the workplace. We did a recording of this earlier in the morning on July 24th, and just jump over to YouTube and check it out and learn more about it. And if you're so inclined to help support the launch of this as a nonprofit, we are accepting donations for it. Last but not by no means least is, how do you get in touch with Briana? And so here is her phone number and her website. And I understand that you were wanting to share your email address. What is that?
It's Briana, Briana, at vacationofthemind.com. Feel free to reach out to me with any questions or thoughts. I'm happy to always answer those. If you're interested in joining our team of instructors, or you are you're in a company that's interested in bringing meditation in, we would love to chat with you and discuss how we can help.
That's
Absolutely.
awesome.
Yeah.
So, there's a great rewind button. You can rewind back, get that email address, take a look at the phone number and the website. And I'm going to apologize to you. I've been pronouncing your name incorrectly. It's Briana, not Briana. So
Oh, that's okay.
you probably get it all the time.
I do.
Yes. But I thank you for taking time to be on this with me today and sharing this knowledge. Meditation is for everyone. You show how simple it is.
Thank you so much, and thank you for everything that you do for our community. It's truly an honor to be partnered with you and to work with you as well. And thanks for having me today.
Thank you for that. And for those who are watching this as a recording, wherever you found it, thank you for joining us as well. And we invite you to pop over to our YouTube channel. Just put You Define Wellness in the search bar, and you will find all 48 of the presentations from this Defining Wellness Confab that we're doing, as well as a bunch of other material that we have. And just to support you in your journey as you're becoming the director of your own healthcare, as to who you could be working with and introducing you to new modalities. So last, thank you again, Briana, and for everyone watching.